I found my stuff in garbage bags at the gate. Mom stood there with my siblings. "You're 29, get out now." I smiled, got in my car, and drove away. 4 months later, Mom sent 35 messages. "Where are you?" Part 1. Mom had already set out the plates when I came upstairs. Toast, over easy eggs, with the exact right amount of hot sauce on the side. She used to do that when I was in high school before early welding practice. For a moment, I let myself believe it meant something. "I'll only be gone 2 days, I said, sliding into the chair across from her. "Just a maintenance contract at the mill in Brookings, but I start the new job Monday." She nodded, stirring her coffee slowly. "That's great, honey." It sounded like a reflex more than a response. Her eyes didn't leave the phone beside her, even when I smiled. "I know it's not a big company like Maroc was, but it's solid pay. Full-time benefits. I'll finally be able to pay off the last of what I owe you." Still no eye contact, just a distracted hum. She typed something and tilted the screen away from me. I focused on my eggs. "Don't make it weird," I told myself. She let me stay when I needed it. She didn't have to. When I stood to rinse my plate, she looked up finally and said, "Drive safe." "I will," I said. She kissed my cheek a little too quickly and pulled me into a side hug like we were performing for someone who wasn't there. Then she went back to her phone. The morning sun cast long shadows as I walked to the car. My duffel bag clanked with the welding gear. I placed it in the trunk like I was packing a new beginning. As I pulled out of the driveway, I looked back once and saw the curtains move. Just a sliver. Just enough. I turned onto our street around 6:32, earlier than planned. The job had wrapped up faster than expected, and I was eager to crawl into bed. My hands still smelled like hot steel and burnt rubber, familiar and grounding. But as I slowed in front of the house, I saw them, black garbage bags. Dozens lined along the edge of the front lawn, some torn open, spilling socks, sweaters, notebooks, even my welding gloves into the patchy grass near the gate. My duffel bag sat upright like it had been thrown and landed wrong. My gaming monitor leaned crooked against the mailbox, unwrapped, exposed, and standing just beyond the bags. My mother was holding her phone like she was filming a cooking demo. Next to her, Noel had her arm outstretched, selfie style, giving her followers a full view of the spectacle. I could hear her voice before I even got out of the car. She said, "And there she is, back from another business trip, still owing $8,000 in rent. Watch closely, folks. This is what entitlement looks like." Griffin paced like a bouncer with nowhere to go. When he saw me approaching, he smirked, walked up to one of the bags, and kicked it hard enough to send my book skidding into the dirt. Finally, he muttered, "The family freeloader is out for good." I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. My chest felt like someone had flipped a switch and drained all the air. My mom raised her phone and narrated, her voice polished and performative. "Callista Wren, 29, living in my basement for months like a parasite. No more. This is your eviction notice. Public and permanent." Some neighbors stood frozen on their porches. Mrs. Valen, across the street, held her dog's leash with both hands, her expression unreadable. Mr. Linton filmed from behind a bush. No one moved. No one said anything. I bent down slowly, picking up the hardcover that had slid from the bag. Its cover was bent. I straightened it, set it aside, picked up the next item. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just kept loading my car piece by piece while Noel's voice rang out from behind me, narrating every step like it was her job. I closed the trunk gently and turned around one last time. They were still filming, still grinning. "Enjoy the show," I said quietly. "You'll be hearing from me soon." I had just closed the back door of my car when I heard the porch door slam open. My dad marched down the steps, face red, jaw clenched, and without a word he flung a set of keys toward me. They hit the side of my face with a dull thud and landed in the gravel. "Take your junk and get out," he barked. "You're not our daughter anymore. Real adults don't mooch off their parents at your age." I blinked, rubbed my cheek where the metal had struck, then leaned down to pick up the keys. I didn't flinch, not in front of him. He stood there, arms crossed, waiting for some dramatic meltdown. Noel had her camera angled for a better shot. Griffin was pacing again, grinning like this was a game he'd already won. I opened the driver's side door, climbed in, and shut it with deliberate quiet. Before starting the engine, I looked through the window at all three of them, Mom with her rehearsed indifference, Noel with her manufactured disgust, Griffin with his practiced cruelty. Then I looked at my dad. He didn't break eye contact, but something, confusion, maybe, flickered when I didn't look away either. I turned the key, pulled away slowly, and didn't look back. I drove aimlessly for a while. The familiar streets of the neighborhood blurred into each other. At some point, I ended up in the grocery store parking lot, headlights off, engine running, just sitting there with both hands on the wheel. It wasn't until I reached Lena's apartment, her porch light still on, that I remembered the envelope. It had been sitting at the bottom of my filing bin for over a year, thick paper, no return address, just my name and my grandfather's unmistakable handwriting. He'd given it to me at the hospital a few weeks before he passed. He'd said, "Don't open it unless things get bad." I never thought I'd need to, but now everything inside me said, "Open it." I set my overnight bag on the floor, pulled the envelope from the side pocket, and laid it across my knees. Lena made tea and set it on the table beside me, then slipped into her room without asking questions. She knew I'd talk when I was ready. I stared at the envelope for a long time before I opened it. The flap came up cleanly, like it had been waiting patiently all this time. Inside was a folded letter, several notarized documents, and a business card from a law firm downtown. The letter was handwritten. It read, in part, "Callista, if you're reading this, it means they've done what I feared. I couldn't protect you from them while I was alive, so I'm doing it now. I've placed part of the house, the lake cabin, and the shop building in your name. It's all legal, all documented. You don't owe them anything, not apologies, not silence, not guilt. This is for when they forget what you're worth. Grandpa. The documents backed it all up, a living trust. My name was listed next to percentages: 40% of the family home, 50% of a lake cabin in Coos County, 35% of the commercial building my dad's business ran out of on Riverdale Street. The business card at the bottom read Arthur Dorsey Estate and Property Law. The next morning I called. His receptionist hesitated until I mentioned my grandfather's name, then offered me a last-minute slot that afternoon. Mr. Dorsey's office was in an old stone building near the university, mahogany furniture, a quiet ticking clock, and walls lined with legal volumes. He remembered me immediately. You used to come with him to meetings, he said. Always brought that little red sketchbook. He reviewed the documents carefully, flipping through them with the kind of precision only decades of practice could build. When he looked up, his expression was unreadable, but his voice was firm. It's all valid, he said. The trust was finalized before your grandfather passed. They can't legally remove you, sell without your consent, or claim ignorance. If they've been collecting rent or taking loans against any of these, they may have a bigger problem than they realize. I sat back in the chair, my heart still pounding. I'm ready to proceed, I said. He leaned forward slightly. Then let's begin. The first text came that night. Noel, 8:47 p.m. Hey, hope you're not mad. The stream wasn't meant to embarrass you. It was just content. You know how the algorithm is. I didn't answer. By morning there were 12 more messages, 2 missed calls from Mom, and a voicemail from Griffin. You're overreacting. It wasn't even that serious. You know how she gets. Just come back and talk like an adult. I forwarded everything to Mr. Dorsey. By midday, Dad's number lit up my screen. Dad, 1:14 p.m. We need you to sign a few things. No drama, just paperwork. No explanation, no apology. It was all instructions, like I was an employee who had missed a deadline. Mr. Dorsey responded on my behalf with a brief, formal notice that all future communication should go through his office. He CC'd their family lawyer. I turned off read receipts and let the silence do the work. I spent the next few hours organizing the things I had salvaged. Lena had cleared a shelf for me, and I stacked my books there, less than half my collection, but enough. I folded the clean clothes, placed the monitor carefully by the desk, and stared at the dent in its frame. Then I picked up a pen. You can click on Share More to see if there is a part 2.